Ponds can be pretty difficult to build, but I think that I've gotten pretty good at it. So I wanted to show you guys how to actually build ponds. I actually have a pre-saved hotbar with a shulker box of all of the stuff that I use to make ponds. And I would recommend this for your different building styles because it just makes it so much easier than searching through the menu. Because this way we can just place it down, grab all the stuff we need, and then get to building. What I typically like to do for ponds is I like to carve out a little area where I'll put where the water is coming from. And this one it's probably going to be from right here. It's going to be a bit of a diagonal flow, and then I can clean it up a bit later. Maybe we'll have that like that. Yeah. Then you just want to get a rough shape of your pond. This can be fairly random. That's not too bad, but I want to round this out. And then once you have your basic shape, you can start digging stuff out. Some people prefer to texture in the mossy cobblestone while they're building. That way they can just place it along. I typically like to do it in like kind of fine type structures. So it would be like that. And then you can connect it down. I think that looks better than that. Yeah. So then you have one layer dug out, and then I typically like to do a second one for this large of a pond. Maybe like that. Maybe a little bit more. And then you can kind of level this off with some slabs. Not every single block should be a slab, but you can really get some nice shape in there when you do that. Maybe a couple stairs too. Keep it in fitting with the vines that you placed. Get up a stair there. The more of a corner it is, the more you kind of want to add the vines. Well, not the vines, the slabs. And then we can finish this edge, because none of that should be dirt. And then we can kind of just place a slab there. Maybe one right there. Stair. Just fleshing out the shape a little bit. Looks pretty good to me. And then the next step would be to grab your water. I'm going to place some right there and right there. Except I don't really like that, how it flows like that, so I'm going to replace this stair like that. I'm going to replace this stair too. So that way it has to come out from the little point. And then we can just wait for it to drain, and then it'll come out of there like that. Make sure you fill everything with water. Gonna replace this with that. Maybe get a bit of that going on there. And then here we can see we have a fairly decent pond shape. The next thing I like to do is add some foliage. So I use that using green glass, green candles, and brown candles. We can kind of make little cattails here. Maybe a bit of a smaller one right here. And then I typically like to have a debug stick, but you can't do that in survival mode. You can just give it to yourself like that, so that way you can disconnect that side. And sometimes you'll have to break the slabs to do what you want to do. But I kind of wanted one that was like this, and then three. So it's nice little cattails there, kind of clustered. Let's grab this, some things from here. You can add some glow lichen if you want. It'll add a little bit of glow at nighttime. I wouldn't go too heavy on it. Maybe like one here or there. And then you can replace your lily pads. What I like to do in creative mode is have some of these lily pads, and then you can set block, tilde, 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 and then you can do the blossom, the petals, the pink petals. I'm just gonna add three here, or amount three, and then that looks good. I'm also gonna add some over here. Let's have them facing east. Yeah. So you can have little petals like that. Something I like to do also is add maybe a bit of drip leaf, but for that you need some moss or a piece of dirt. I'm going to be using dirt in this case. You know what? No, I'll grab some moss. Moss kind of blends well in, but you might... I typically like to place it where a mossy cobblestone would have been. So you can place that there. I typically like to put some pink candles on there, so it looks like little flowers, but you have to place those on a block before you place it. So then it looks like that, which I think looks really nice. After that, I like to take some bone meal, get some grass. That edited that, so I'm going to delete that. Where's... Oh, that became a source block. Yeah, then we can just re-add the lily pad. Like that. And then you have a fairly decent pond. Problem there being, what's the difference between that pond and this, well, that pond and this pond? Because I think that this pond looks a lot better. Well, we're all in the same meadow, basically. But what you might have been able to see there is that I actually used biomes to texture it. You typically want to go for like a like this line right here is where the biome is, and then it fades off here and here. I have biome blending on set to 5, which is normal, so I can actually even do this, because if I set it to off, that happens. You can kind of see what I did. And if I set it to, like, maximum, you can't even see that I did anything. So I like to set it to 5. So how you do that is, I typically like to slash fill biome, tilde, 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 tilde. Warm ocean adds how, like it adds a bright ocean. So you can add those as you go. Sometimes you might want something to be a little bit darker, and that's where the deep ocean comes in. You don't typically want to do these in the water, but you want to do it to the side, so because of the biome blending. Maybe one in the water. But as you can see, that really drastically impacts how that works. So I'm actually going to use biome blend off as a tool, so I can see how it's working. It is a little bit weird, but if you can get something you like going, then when you turn back on Biome Blend, I think it looks pretty good. And biome texturing water is something that, while you can only do it in creative mode, I actually haven't seen a lot of people do outside of like Hypixel. They did some really nice biome texturing, but I think that this is a really good pond, and I hope that you can go build your own. I subscribe or something.